Welcome back, trainers. So, I have been on the hunt for these shiny Drowzee, and I'm going to show you my Pokedex entry as to how many I've seen. Obviously, this is not straight from the event, because when this game first launched, there was Drowzees everywhere here. Also, the shiny variants of Ditto has been added to the server side. We'll be discussing that, as well as some PvP and taking a look at some Claydol raids. So let's go ahead and get into this. Hope everybody's having a good event. I personally am myself. I should have gotten another video up yesterday for y'all, but it's alright. I'm here now. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Seen 7,937. Wow, okay. And then caught 5,457. Yeah, no Drowzees yet. Well, we'll keep looking here. I have a lucky hip now. I just showed you guys that last time. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at that shiny Ditto and then discuss a few things about PvP. Alrighty, we're over here on Krell's Twitter, and he found this, as you can see here. Shiny Ditto added to the server side. And also, you can encounter Pikachu and Raichu. You cannot encounter Raichu as a shiny, I'm pretty sure. Just the Pikachu with the hat. So you have about another day or so to catch that, because I'm pretty sure it was a 48-hour release, which is going to be nice. There is too many Pikachus around. They're taking over the Drowzee spawns, and it's harder to find them. So I can't wait until they're gone. Make sure you don't transfer all of them. As for me, oof, I need to go through and clear out mine. I transferred, must have been like 200 of them last night, and I need to get rid of some more. So shiny Ditto, guys. How does that work? It's not going to transform into a shiny variance of everything it sees. It's just going to transform into what it actually is in front of it. So if you have a shiny Charizard in the gym and then you bring out your Ditto, it will transform into that shiny Charizard. If there's a normal Charizard, then it'll transform into that normal Charizard. It would be amazing if you could go into the different variances with this single Ditto, but that's not the way it works. As to when it's going to be released, I have no idea, but all I know is it's been added to the server. It looks pretty cool. Nice blue Ditto there. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at a few other things. So they did add a new style to the shop here for the male and female, which is going to be this hat here, which I am currently rocking because I like it. It matches. It looks great. The thing about the Valor hat, let me show you here. It's cool and all. It just has that yellow trim, which is not a big deal, but I prefer an all black style, and that's going to be this hat here, which is perfect for me. And let's go ahead and take a look at the shirt, which is actually pretty clean as well. I like the way it looks on my avatar. I'm not going to switch it up because it just feels so wrong to not have that R on my chest. Right, so we're just going to take a look at this Suicune catch. Yeah, it's nothing special here. And then we're going to go into those Claydol raids, and I'm going to discuss PvP while we take a look at those. Now, I'm going to put a team together that I think would personally be nice for a mid-range battle. So I predict that we're going to have like a baby cup, small cup, medium, and then expert mode, and then possibly an unlimited mode where you can just pick any sort of CP. And these different modes are going to consist of picking Pokemon that have a lower CP, mid-range, higher, and then ultimate would be any number, okay? We're going to go for the higher one, right? So basically almost a free-for-all. So let's go ahead and get into this. Before I pick the PvP players, or should I say Pokemon, I need to go over their moves because that's going to be a big factor. So say you're going to use Groudon. Would you want Earthquake? I say you're not going to want that, because if you're battling somebody and all of a sudden you pull out your Groudon and you're like, they're thinking to themselves, okay, well, I'm definitely not going to stick in the battle for this because, well, my Steel type is weak to that. I'm going to pull out my Water type and do some super effective damage to this thing. Hopefully they pull out their Water type and not, say, an Ice type. If you have Solar Beam on your Groudon, you're going to be able to hit him with super effective damage. Do you see? You have to learn the counters and predict those kind of things. So that's why they have those types of moves. If you're newer to Pokemon, you're like, why would this Ninetales have Solar Beam? It's so they can counter their weaknesses, and in fact, it is extremely good. All right, so Blissey. Am I going to have a Blissey on my team? I'm going to have to see how it works first. If everybody starts picking them and putting them in there, and it's going to be almost a standard, which is going to be very unfortunate. Yes, I'm going to rock a Blissey just to counter the nonsense. If anything, I might just work around it eventually and figure out how to deal with them without actually having my own Blissey, which I plan to do, okay? Alright, so let's keep going. You're going to definitely want to have some sort of fighting type on your team. Obviously, Machamp is probably going to be your best bet. Although, if we do receive Gen 4 by the time PvP is released, there's going to be several other fighting types. Well, I wouldn't say several, probably just going to be Glade, which is going to be a nice addition to your team as well, depending on the moveset. It's not going to have the same one as Machamp, but it still has the potential to do quite good with Drain Punch and another fighting move. So Glade is looking great for the future. Considering its typing, it is going to be a fighting and psychic. Machamp's going to be weak to psychic, right? So the other trainer will simply pull out another type to get that Machamp, but if you have Glade, you're not going to be weak to psychic. So that should be good. But otherwise, Machamp is going to be a solid option. So let's go ahead and throw in a Machamp. Now, who would I want to lead with? That's the main question. Now, I could go with, this might seem crazy to you, but Scizor, because there's only one weakness, which is going to be fire. Now, if you're thinking, well, sure, they'll just bust out their Charizard, their Entei, their Moltres, and then wipe you out. Yes, that's true. And now I'm going to get into this. I feel like I'm not going to actually pick a team. I'm just going to give you an example now. Because what you want to do, and I'm not trying to pick that Mewtwo, that was by accident, is counter every Pokemon with the next. So you have something that's ready to go in the battle to protect that previous one, right? So if they put fire types in there, what is that? Say Entei, Moltres, Charizard, those are all going to be very weak to rock type. So it's going to be in your best interest to possibly put a Tyranitar with Smackdown and Stone Edge as a counter, or something that is going to be resisting the fire types and also be doing super effective damage, possibly a Golem with Rock Throw and Stone Edge as well. You also have the possibility of a water counter. You could, I mean, let's see. We could make a complete cheap team. Kyogre counter there. There you go. How's that sound? But let's stick with non-legendaries, yeah? So we'll go with Ragnarok. That's a decent counter to that. And then if you're thinking, all right, well, you bust out the Tyranitar, and then they're thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to put in my fighting types to counter that Tyranitar. So what are we going to have to do? We're going to have to put in a fighting type of our own, or a psychic type possibly. So I would say Espeon would be a solid option. Now, do you want to go with Espeon Last Resort or Espeon Future Sight? Or even an Alakazam? There's a reason why I'm not saying Alakazam. It's because he's quite a glass cannon, and it will be decent for PvP possibly, but it'd be safer to stick with more of a tankier Pokemon. So I'm going to say throw in a, there you go, Espeon right there as a counter. Alright, now, what is Espeon going to be weak to? Dark and bug types. So we have to try to find a counter to those. So we still don't have a fighting type on our team, right? So obviously that's going to be a Machamp. So we're just going to go ahead and put a Machamp on our team right there. Okay. Now this is just an example team, folks. Just an example. And technically, too, you don't want something, a team that's going to have multiple weaknesses. So far on here, there's not going to be anything that's going to be weak to like multiple moves. Tyranitar weak to bug and fighting, and then we have Espeon weak to bug, dark, and then Machamp weak to flying and psychic types. So far it's pretty evened up. Now we need something to counter the Machamp if they come in with, say, flying types or a psychic. So we need a dark type on our team. We have that Tyranitar, but let's see what we can do. Maybe we can pick a Pokemon that has a hidden dark type move on it. Like, let's see. Oh, there you go. Bingo. Alolan Muck. That works great. Or you can even pick the regular Muck with Dark Pulse. Alright, but I'm going to go with that one here. So what is he going to be weak against? That's going to be ground type, and only one type there. So maybe we need a little bit of grass and water coverage on our team now. Non-legendary, so let's see what we have. We can go with possibly Gyarados, but it has a 4x weakness to electric. So I say no go for that. You're not going to want to use things in PvP that have 4 times weakness. And here I go saying that with a Tyranitar on my team. I could simply switch that out for a Golem, right? So water or grass. Now I would say possibly Exeggutor, Alolan Exeggutor, Sceptile, or Venusaur. But for this situation, I'm definitely going to go with my shiny Venusaur with Frenzy Plant, okay? And there you go. That's the kind of thinking and mentality that you're going to want to have for PvP, is that every other Pokemon should be countering the next, right? That makes sense to you. That's how I've always kind of played. For Pokemon Go, the strategy is going to be a lot different from the main series because there is no speed. It's just going to be a tap and destroy kind of a deal and counter your opponent with whatever other Pokemon you have on your team. Now, as far as hidden moves within these Pokemon, it's not happening too much. You can get very technical with that, but what I did more for this was the previous Pokemon, or before it, counter the next one so they could protect each other, basically. Seems like a pretty rounded team here, so there you have a little bit more insight onto PvP for Pokemon Go. This is all subject to change. They can rework the whole PvP battle, and when it's released, we can see a whole new mechanics introduced, which would be exciting and fun. As far as do I think that this is going to work as a PvP competitive play, as a tap, 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 and dodge swipe to the side? Yes, I think it can work to a degree, and people think it's not going to be that fun because you're simply tapping a screen. There's going to be more skill involved than you think. All right, if you have right counters, you're going to be able to wall people. I'm not talking just Blissies, Chanseys. Snorlax is not going to even be that great because it's a good gym defender, but you have to think of this, folks. When you drop Pokemon in a gym to defend, they have 2 times more defense, HP, and attack. It's stacked up. So that Pokemon in reality is not as strong as you think it really is. Simple as that. Okay, so now we're going to talk very briefly about hidden counters within certain Pokemon, like Ho-Oh, for instance, with Solar Beam. You're going to be weak to what? Water, rock, and that's pretty much it, right? So Golems, Tyranitars, Vaporeons, Gyarados is not going to be affected too much by your Solar Beam, but all the other Pokemon that I mentioned are going to be extremely weak to your Solar Beam. If you're able to survive and actually get it off, that would be a great counter. Even if they were to dodge, it's going to do a massive amount of damage. Now, if you want to look at a Pokemon that's Fire type and non-legendary, if I can type in the name here without the game freezing, there we go. Let's go ahead and look at Ninetales. What's it doing here? Let's see here. We have this one. Fire Spin and Solar Beam, which I think is going to be great. Those kind of things is what you want to do. Now, there's plenty of Pokemon that have counters within them. This would be actually pretty fun to use in PvP. It's going to be very weak to Steel type, but otherwise it's still, you know, decent. And Gardevoir with Shadow Ball might be a pretty good counter. Say they bust out their Psychic type, you pull yours out, and if they don't switch, you're going to be able to hit them with that Shadow Ball. It's going to be doing super effective damage. On the flip side, they're not going to be doing super effective to you because you're Psychic type and they're doing psychic moves towards you, unless they have a Alakazam with Shadow Ball. And if they do, I have to say, Chim Chim Chiru, that was a very good counter. And then you have Alakazam with Shadow Ball. That's also going to be a hidden revenge killer, I suppose. Not necessarily revenge, but just kind of like a hidden move within that Pokemon. So what would you even want to use it against? Other Psychic types, possibly. And even if you were to go up against a Machamp with Confusion and Shadow Ball, you're still going to be doing massive damage. It's going to be a bit of a glass cannon, but at the same time, putting out massive damage. Arcanine. Another great PvP Pokemon right here, because it has a variety of counter moves. Not necessarily counter moves, but it has the Crunch, and it also has the Wild Charge. Now, where is mine? If I can find it. It doesn't have it. I took it off. That's odd. So I'm going to go ahead and switch mine, as a matter of fact, right now to Wild Charge before it comes some sort of legacy. There you go. Fire Fang, Wild Charge, Arcanine. So they pull out their water type. Oh, I'm going to get your Arcanine. All of a sudden you hit them, bam, Wild Charge. They're like, what the heck? If they had their fire types out there and you need some fire coverage, your Fire Fang is going to be doing good damage as well. So that's pretty nice. Good coverage on Arcanine. And as far as golems go, I also want to talk about, do you want a multiple charge bar move or one huge charge bar move for PvP? Let's go ahead and look up my golems here and take a look at that situation. I hope I didn't switch it. Stone Edge, Rock Blast, beautiful. So something like this for PvP is going to be quite amazing, because think about it. The more you're going to be able to get off, the better. You're not going to have to wait during the whole duration to get that Stone Edge and finally get it off, and you're almost fainted because, well, they've been switching into the counters. You're going to be able to just Rock Blast, Rock Blast, Rock Blast, and still do a decent amount of damage. But at the same time, you're going to be more vulnerable sitting there doing charge moves. But I personally think that's going to be a fun counter and strategy to use. Pokemon that have multiple charge bar moves. Wild Charge Golem is actually going to be somewhat of a decent PvP Pokemon. A lot of these Pokemon out here that you think are not so great are actually going to turn out to be amazing when PvP comes out. And then you, of course, have a Kingdra, which is also going to be pretty good. Now, I noticed something about Dragon Breath, and also with the Machamp's counter move. For the Machamp's counter, it's been like that for a while, since around the Reggie Ice, I do believe. They didn't necessarily slow it down. I think they just slowed the animation, which makes the whole feel, slower. Just makes it feel slower in general. And I think they did that with Dragon Breath. But this is actually going to be a good PvP Pokemon, because it's not going to be actually weak to ice. So that's going to be a savior for it. But on the flip side, it's not going to be doing that much damage. But still, another amazing Pokemon. Super cool. Just wish it had more health. Otherwise, Kingdra is another A+ Pokemon to use. Depending on the moveset, it's all up to you. Breloom is going to be very, very fragile, but at the same time doing massive damage. But you're probably going to want to just stick with Machamp. And we can go on and on and on here, folks. We have Shadow Ball possibly on the Crobat, which is going to be a nice counter as well, because it's weak to Psychic, right? So Shadow Ball is going to be doing super effective to those. See, it's those kind of strategies that you have to think about for PvP. And we'll be getting a lot more into this in the future. Just wanted to give you a few of my insight tips on that as well. So thank you for watching, trainers. And hello. How's it going, buddy? Hopefully I'll be able to find a shiny Drowsy soon, and also more details about the shiny Ditto coming soon, hopefully, because that's going to be quite amazing. Do I think they're going to drop that for the Halloween event? I don't know, but they also announced the Halloween event as well. Professor Willow said something about spooky things are happening. So can we expect Gen 4 drop? I don't know, guys. We're all anticipating, because personally, I think Halloween events in Pokemon Go are one of the best. Because not only do we have the music, but we have the amazing Ghost Dark types as well. So thank you for watching, trainers. And if you're wondering why am I walking Mew, well, it's the Psychic event, and I just wanted to walk this little buddy here because, wow, I really like Mew. And it's funny because I did do that video with Deoxys, Celebi, and Mew going up against gyms. You know how we're talking about Celebi. It's not that great. It's okay. It's, it puts in work. But compared to Deoxys, Mew and Celebi are just completely amazing. You don't even think anything bad about them anymore. It's hilarious. Alright, trainers, thank you for watching, and I'll be catching you on my next video. Take care.